remember I told you, you know, you want to go back afterwards and look at your own chart and look at the Aries Libra axis, and those houses are going to tell you kind of the themes that you could quite literally experience. Okay.
Mm.
Now, this is, a Cancer ascendant, and you got the sun and moon in the 10th house where it's exalted. Now, I don't know, I've told you this before, but in astrology, they kind of use Aries as like the original chart. But a lot of ancients felt in old times that the original chart is the Cancer ascendant, right? Because the Cancer is associated with the mother, and there's the I am energy, your first house when you're born, and you're born from your mom, right? And then dad would go off to work, and you get the family values, Leo, the son, dad. And then what? Aries is exalted. The sun is exalted in Aries, so that's the zenith top of the chart between 12 and 2 p.m. Aries. So you could see logically that it could make sense, right? Even more so than having the Aries in the first house, that you would have the Cancer ascendant be the original chart. So I've always kind of felt interesting when I work with Cancer ascendants, because I think that not like they're, more special than any other ascendant. I think everybody's equal, but intuitively, I just sense something with Cancer ascendants and having the 159 trine being in the water signs. And then I like this Aquarius in 8th house, which connects you to the esoteric and occult knowledge, and Pluto's here for that.
Mm.
So, just the thought. So obviously we look at the 10th house because it's a Cancer ascendant. Okay, so the chart ruler. And then look at this. Isn't this deep? You see this again? Because we went from the part of fortune being in the 7th house on the lunar eclipse, and then it's in the 1st house on the total solar eclipse. And that is kind of the theme, you guys, of this nodal axis. And I've said it in a lot of my different videos, but in case you haven't heard it, Aries is the I am. Libra is the we are. And that's I is the 1st house, self. The 7th house is the we. And so there's kind of that theme and that pattern. I don't think there's any accidents. I know there's no accidents in the universe. So this is kind of telling us something. With these two eclipses, it's about what do we do, right? Aries North Node, initiate, assert yourself, be brave and courageous. Time to walk into your leader, pioneering, maverick energy, right? And the part of fortune is in the 1st house of Cancer. Nurture and care for self, others, right? Cancer is about safety, security, divine knowledge, inner knowing, right? And the part of fortune is in the 1st house. Before, it was in the Gemini in the 7th house in the lunar eclipse chart. And what does Gemini do in the 7th house? It's chit-chatting, talking, getting information with everybody, right? For the marketplace, for the court, the contracts, negotiations, the relationships. Oh, do you like this? Oh, I like that, blah, 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 right? So there's no, seriously, the part of fortune is kind of like aligned in a way where I feel like it's letting us know that we energy is really the theme of these nodes. And so it's something that we have to be aware of and try to use to our benefit, right? That we can't worry about following the pack. It's on us. We're responsible for ourselves, right? We've got to take charge of our lives, Aries North Node. But at the same time, in a harmonious way, we've got to learn, even though we're leaders and we're being brave and courageous, how are we relating and connecting to others in a harmonious and peaceful way, right? How are we getting the job done? How are we connecting with our fellow humans? Okay, so now this lights up with the sun and moon, Mars, Chiron, North Node, Venus. You got a lot going on. And I'm sorry, not Mars, Mercury. So all this in the 10th house, right? For this Aries solar eclipse. And the solar eclipse is when the sun and moon are together. And we're going to see this during the day. So the sun is going to, people remember how we had those watch parties? What was it? Like back in 2016, that big eclipse going across America. It was like kind of huge, and it would like make your area like really dark. I remember we looked at it in Arizona because it came through, and it was like kind of wild because like you just like saw like it was like the sun just got like blacked out for a second, and I was like, oh no, is this the 3 days of darkness they've been talking about? And I don't know if some of you guys don't know about that. A lot of people are predicting that energetically we're going to go through 3 days of darkness. And if we ever do, remain calm, stay at home, don't go outside. Just make sure you've got uh, candles, um, flashlights. I'm not talking about any like doomsday preppers or hoarding, but just always keep in your pantry or in your basement or hall closet, whatever you have, right? Just enough stuff to hold you, for a little bit of time. It's just smart. I mean, obviously, this may have been crazy talk in 2013 or 15 or 17, but after 2020, no, it's not crazy talk. It's smart talk and real talk. Okay. So I'd rather you guys be ready, cautious, and prepared than to be caught out there and we go through because I do unfortunately feel and we'll see if this chart shows it. I think you may see it more in coffee talk in August. I'm going to look at the Libra solar eclipse on October 2nd and then the September 17th, the partial lunar eclipse. It's actually a sneak preview of 2025 going into 2026 because it's going to be the Pisces Virgo axis. All right. So that's what
Mm.
happens sometimes. So it's going to be fascinating. September 17th. And they, I don't like to get into it, but in the movie Leave the World Behind, they had predicted that that's when the world would kind of start to end on that day, September 17th, on that eclipse. Okay.
Mm.
So just to give you a little, predictive programming insight and stuff, that's one thing they did, like The Simpsons is always predicting stuff and they predicted a dark winter for 2024 and, they predicted 9/11 and cold, you know what I mean? It's, you know,
Yeah.
but you have to understand that, because Freemasons run some of, the networks and stuff like that, they put stuff in, and I don't know if you guys have ever watched that series Black Mirror, but they put a lot of stuff that can happen and that will happen in the TV shows and the movies. And so Black Mirror is one to definitely watch if you've never seen it. It's really deep, and they've been doing a lot of stuff around AI and technology lately. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, my wife watches it. I've only seen a couple of them, but sometimes she tells me about them. I'm like, oh, maybe I should look at that one. Like that's an interesting one.
Which one
But
is that? What's
uh,
the name?
it's
What's
called
the
Black Mirror.
Hmm.
I believe it's on Netflix. It's deep though. I've seen one or two of them.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God, like it's yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And but remember, some of these shows, like they did predict that whole thing in Ohio where the trains dropped all that the stuff and the chemicals. That was predicted in a show. You know, I think even Back to the Future predicted, the Twin Towers, 9/11. It happens all the time. I mean, this is something they've been doing for a while. And so it is what it is, but it's good to be aware of things. And so, anyway, when you have the Mercury, Venus, North Node, Sun and Moon, and Chiron in the 10th house, well, what's the 10th house, right? We're dealing with the government, the authorities, a relationship with our father, our legacy, our public image, our reputation, our workplace, work environment, quite literally our career, because the midheaven's here, right? So this is really supporting that as a collective, we need to show up, take charge, be leaders, initiate. This Aries moon here can be extremely impulsive and hold on, it's hard for me to see the exact degree there. Is that
Which one?
15? The Aries, Sun and Moon? What's the degree?
19?
Is it 19? Yeah, 19. Or is it 15?
Well, 15.
Yeah, sun and moon, 15 degrees. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and so that's so the lunar mansion behind that, so you guys understand, right? So you're dealing with the sun and moon. Then with Aries, you're dealing with Mars. But the lunar mansion behind it is Venus. And Mercury and Venus are there. So this is an energy that's really where you could see being assertive and aggressive and initiating fights and arguments around relationships,
Mm.
finance, entertainment, arts and culture, the love language. And it doesn't mean like fighting to break up, it could be fighting for love, fighting for finances, fighting for, you know what I mean? All these different things. Right now, there's a lot going on, right, with the stock market and countries turning against America, with BRICS and gold and all the, just the American dollar. And so, with the crypto, whether you believe in it or don't, one thing that they're working on doing is like in China, right, having a social credit score, but at the same time, having us be on digital currency. Because then that way they have more control over the citizens in the society with our money. And they're going to tell you, oh, it's convenience and it's easier and da 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 da. And oh, an instant payment. Like we're not instant now, right? We're pretty instant. But oh, it'll be, safer, more secure, and it's going to be instant, right?
Hmm.
And so, we just have to be mindful about these things and understand, you're having companies like Vanguard and BlackRock invest in Bitcoin and the crypto and, to overflood it, but they could be doing it for that reason to, make it bigger, but they could also be
Hmm.
doing it to then drop out and make it crash. So you just have to always, kind of go with your own spiritual discernment and what you want to do. I mean, I tell people I'm not a financial advisor, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn last night. And the one thing I would say is diversify as much as you can. Some people believe in like, I don't want my money in big banks anymore. I want a credit union. That's fine. Some people are like, I'm starting to get gold and silver. That's fine too. Some people are, saying, you know what, I want to keep just move around cash in my home, whether it's, from $200 to $500, smaller bills, just to have cash in case something goes down, right? And then people talk about, investing in crypto. Okay. So XRP is going to be because this energy is connected to finances, and that's why I'm talking about it. Okay. With the Aries, Sun and Moon, Mercury and Venus, this is very much about the government around our finances, around our work and career lives, our legacies, work environment, all of it. And so,
Eric, quick question. So I'm so sorry because I have June, so it's all about her right now, 3 years old. Anyway, are we saying that it's current, the Aries, sun and moon? Or are you talking about at a different time?
oh, so this is for the total solar eclipse?
Oh, for the solar. Okay,
Yeah, so this is
I'm
April
gonna be
8th.
listening to the recording,
No,
obviously.
no, that's okay, my friend. Yeah, so this is on April 8th, and this is the planetary alignments.
I
You
feel like
know,
it's now. That's the only reason I asked.
having the Taurus rising and the Aries sun, there could be, things where you could be experiencing a change to career, right? Pluto is later this afternoon, evening, entering your 10th house, quite literally for the next 20 years, right? And so, that means the Leo is fourth and the Taurus is the first. And so Jupiter's on your ascendant, right, until May 25th. And then I think you'll find some financial growth and blessings for the next year, starting May 25th to about June 1st of 2025, because Jupiter will be in your second house of what? Money, earning money,
Hmm.
value, self worth. So, yeah, I'm not
Yes.
surprised that there's a pull and a shift. For a lot of us, this is a time if we were ever going to ask for raises or quit our jobs and start our own thing, blaze a new trail, it's during the Aries North Node. That is the I am. Remember I said the I versus the we? Aries North Node is the I, right? Aries is the baby, the individual, the childhood genius, 0 to 7, the pioneer maverick. Aries don't ask for permission. They just go and do it head first. And that's what makes them so brilliant and pure, right? Because, I mean, I know if you guys in your heart of hearts, especially for you, Robin and Pauline as Aries, right? You don't ever mean ill will towards anybody, but there may be times in your life where you've experienced where maybe you bumped into somebody or, and I don't mean physically, but also literally, right? And spiritually, that you've kind of like had to move people out of your way, or you're like doing, because you're on your focus and on your path. Aries, remember, look at the symbols, right? The ram, they don't see so well. They learn through touching things. They ram into things, right? Head first. And so that's the energy of Aries. They charge into things head first. They are initiating.
Pauline is laughing.
Yeah, no, because you guys, listen, you guys are magical like that, but it's a true energy. It's very pure. I know my father was an Aries. He was so friendly and whatever, but he was a boss, a leader. And if you got in his way, then that was your fault. You know what I mean? Like he didn't, you know what I'm saying? But it was like he was going to do it. Yeah, he was going to do what he was going to do. You're the one that got in his way, right? So, and that's how.
Super helpful. I have an Aries child, and that makes a whole lot of sense now.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
So you're getting some insight because, it's
Mean well.
yeah, exactly.
Determined.
No. There's not a mean bone in an Aries body. They don't mean harm.
No.
It's very pure, but they're gonna do what they want to do, and they learn through touching life, through experience. Aries
Yep.
doesn't live on the sidelines. They have to do it,
Yep.
right? That would be like one of your like main themes or mantras, right? Like Nike, just do it. Aries
Yep.
is go do it. Because that's also, think about it. Like, how do children and babies learn? They gotta explore and touch and do it, right? And then you that's how you associate the toddler with Taurus. Because then how does the toddler learn? Through its 5 senses. If you ever go shopping with the Taurus, right? They've got to smell it and feel the fabric, and they're touching this and touching that. It's a sensory experience. Anything you do with the Taurus, they're touching, touch, right? And because that's how they learn. And then you go to the next one, right? Gemini. They got to talk about it. They got to ask questions. And this is my term of endearment for Geminis. I call them the verbal slut. And I with all love. Right, because I love Geminis because they will literally talk to the homeless person, the person at the bank, woman at the pharmacy, the post office, at the gym, this one, and they know, chat. Now they don't they're not going to sit down and read a 400-page novel. Gemini's like, get the hell out of here with that, right? But Twitter was made for Geminis. They're like, oh, I can do 240 characters. That's perfect. I get in, I get out, I get my information, and I'm gone. So they like the short form communication, and if you notice, that's why they are the Jack and Janes of all trades, because Geminis know something about everything.
Everything.
Oh my God. I see it.
I know.
My 14-year-old. I mean, he's like a brilliant fool. You know what I mean? Like he knows something about everything, but then he won't go deep enough. I'm like, you gotta go a little bit deeper, buddy. But he's so smart, and the best word is curious and inquisitive.
Mm-hmm.
And I really respect, I respect all the signs because
all the signs.
we all have our pros, cons, our gifts, our frailties. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, sweetheart.
By the way, this is an Aries too.
Restless.
So she had to say hi, I bet.
She looked over at I have 2 screens, or 4 screens anyway, whatever. She's now showed me that I can touch the other screen. I never knew that. I never knew I could touch it.
Well, the baby Aries told you and taught you. There you go.
Oh my goodness, I tell you.
That's great.
Amazing. We learned so much from them.
Yeah. Now, I want to show you guys this. I'm going to get back to the 10th house. But see, again, the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, but this time in the 11th house. And remember I told you the 11th house is 6 from the 6. So this is like a secondary house to see health as well. Okay? But remember, this is your hopes, dreams, wishes, but this is the internet. This is the political sphere, right? The politicians, all that stuff. And then Jupiter, Uranus, this is where we could see sudden changes. We could see different values. This is where we can get into real financial stuff over the internet, but this time it's forced upon us by the government, quite literally. Taurus is very fixed, stubborn, practical, pragmatic. Oh, you're gonna, use, I forgot the thing they introduced last year. You're gonna use the Fed now. You have no choice. You don't go through Cash App or PayPal or Zelle anymore. You have to do all your payments through Fed now. That's what that could be right there. Okay. So just understand, these are new beginnings. When you're dealing with Venus, Mercury, Sun, Moon, Chiron, North Node, and Aries, it's a new beginning that could be introduced by your work, your government, your authorities, even for the kids, your parents. Okay. So that's kind of what's up here in the 10th house with this Aries energy. And then, looking at the 9th house, right? So we're dealing with our beliefs, our wisdom, philosophies, right? And we're still dealing with the Mars and Pisces, but Saturn is here. And this is where we can see restrictions potentially to what? Travel.
Mm.
Okay. But still, maybe being less dogmatic and being open spiritually. Did somebody come in? Being open to spiritual stuff. Okay, hold on, let me just check. And so, when you see Saturn with Pisces, you really, Saturn and Neptune and Pisces, whatever house it's in, but in the 9th house, Saturn is always going to represent kind of also the lineage, right? Structures, the systems, restrictions, fear, anxiety, and one thing that I've been kind of visualizing and seeing with this, because this is a total solar eclipse going across America, I hope that this isn't the case, but when you see the Mars and Pisces in the foreign lands, Mars is the soldier and the warrior, and that Saturn's the government. So this could, be some issues with foreign countries as well. Okay. Pluto in the 8th house, right? This is dealing with our finances, our power, the occult knowledge, IRS, the letter boys, right? IRS, FBI, CIA. And you're dealing with Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto is really at home here. But when you're dealing with the Aquarius, it's going to reveal, well, hey, what's this? This is around tax time, right? April 15th. This is April 8th. We could get some revelation about the taxes, the IRS, some transformations. Okay. That's how you could interpret that. Aquarius, this could be tax breaks for the people, new taxes. I don't know. But this is also where you can see, you can really get into researching and learning about the esoteric knowledge, the astrology, the human design, the tarot, all the metaphysics, numerology, okay? And also organic herbs. This is the burdock root, ashwagandha, spirulina, sea moss, the zinc, the magnesium, all the herbs, plant medicine. This could also be like, people now are all into this microdosing and ayahuasca and all this stuff. That could be this too, okay? So, what I also like is seeing this series, Goddess of Harvest, in the 7th house. So we're also required, right? Because it's still in Capricorn, it's just the ascendant has moved. We're kind of required to nurture and care for the food we're shopping and getting, the things we buy, and the people we are in relation to. Our partners, our business partners, our marriage partner, our relationships. Maybe your second child needs a little bit more help than the others. I mean, just giving you different examples, okay? But Ceres is associated with the harvest and the food, but it's also how you want to be nurtured and cared for and the things you nurture and care for. Now, a roundabout way, you could break this down and be like, oh, this is the government taking care of us, nurturing and caring for us. Oh, we can only hope and dream. But it could be with that Andrew Yang thing I was telling you about, like a fixed income for all the citizens, which, listen, that could be good and bad. I mean, to me, everybody, I don't know. I love working. I want to earn my own keep in my own way. I don't want handouts for the government. But, this could be a universal stipend because of Pluto Aquarius changing our financial systems, right? Let's see what's going on in the second and third house after the Cancer. The Leo, the government, right? Something, nothing's here, but it's opposing to Pluto, something with our finances and how we earn money. And then back to Juno, still in Virgo. I mean, goodness, Juno's in Virgo for I feel like a year. But being what? Analytical, critical in our local communities with how we communicate. This is your skills, your self-efforts, being of service to humanity in your local community. This is quite literally also to me where we had a couple of years ago, you guys, the Gemini North Node, and that did start the podcast boom. But what it also introduced is it was kind of like right before the pandemic had started. That's when we had the Gemini, Sag, and then we went to Cancer Capricorn nodes. It was Cancer Capricorn, then the Gemini. But the Gemini also was starting that local community trade and barter. And you may hear me say this all the time on my podcast, but it's very true, right? If I've got oranges and strawberries and one of you guys has got broccoli and kale and we are supporting and exchanging, then we both have fruits and vegetables, okay? And so that's something that you want to make sure in your local community you can be tapped into your farmers market. You can be tapped into little consortiums where people are supportive and look out for one another. Because we could very quickly, if the internet is shut down, and whether it's our country or Russia or China or aliens or some mystery person, Darth Vader, whoever, whatever it could be, that we may have to get back to the hand-to-hand exchange. Trade and barter may be the new money and currency, right? So Pauline, you be like, well, hey, I can cook a meal for you and maybe you can, help me with this, that, and the third. You know what I mean? Jacqueline, you're like, oh, I can help you with medical stuff and give you supplies. And then your neighbor's like, oh, cool. Well, okay, I can help watch the kids and I have an apple tree and I've got a ton of apples. You know what I mean? So how do we figure out as a collective, what do we bring to the table, right? Think about if you were in a commune, right? Because, I don't know, anything's possible in terms of where we're at right now in the world and how society can play out in the next couple of years. So I will tell you the human design prophecy is that as a collective, we're going to leave the solar plexus and go to our heart chakra in 2027. The question is, how do we get through all this mess until 2027? And that's where our spiritual discipline is going to be our North Star, okay? And very important as we evolve as human beings and souls. Now, we do, still look at the Libra South Node in the fourth house in a conjunction to our friend, True Black Moon Lilith, right? And so even though the eclipse energy is all focused on the Aries, right? You always look at the opposing energy in house. So because this is on the nodal axis, the Libra South Node is still going to be, big in play even during this solar eclipse. And so there is something speaking to peace and harmony, justice and fairness, and getting in to our emotional mind and our physical body and grounding our root chakra to create peace and balance in our own lives and in our own minds and emotions for our own home and homeland and family. So I think that's kind of important. It's like, you have to look at these planets as like giving you themes and storylines, but also messages and insights, right? To me, I don't know, I keep getting pulled in. Why is Juno in Virgo for so long? It's been there for the last few months, and it's going to be here going all the way, and I've seen Juno move way quicker. So, when I see Juno, this asteroid for long-term relationships, commitment, and marriage, right? It's like us being committed to what? Humanity and service. I mean, very literally, you could be like, oh, hey, this is just a great time for you guys to love on Eric. He's a Virgo astrologer with a Virgo stellium. Give Eric some love. But, it's not about me. I think of it more as the collective and really, being analytical and critical. But remember, I always say this, Virgo, we can be a hot mess at times, and over-analysis creates paralysis, and we're always in our head, and we can be super critical of others, but first self-critical, right? I always joke sometimes, I say I'm a recovering Virgo because I've learned to be kinder and nicer to myself with the positive self-talk, because that's challenging for Virgos. I don't know for you guys with your other signs, but for Virgos are really tough on themselves. But when with the Juno there, it is really speaking to Virgos about number one, the best personal assistant, because Virgo analyzes and assesses without emotion. They're just about making things better, right? It's truly the weed and the medicine. How am I of service to humanity? And so when you have Juno there and it's in the third house in the local community, right? And in the other chart, it was in the 10th house, public image, out around the people at work, career. There's definitely, to me, something about we have got to be in servitude to one another. We have to show up and support one another. We have to be humanitarians to deal with all these energies at this time. Because eclipses are powerful. Eclipses are powerful. I don't know if you guys remember when Queen, just recently, right? Charles was brought in on an eclipse, and I think Elizabeth she died on an eclipse. This was at the end of the Taurus Scorpio nodal axis. So just in the last year and a half, right? When Charles was brought in and she passed away. Okay. And so that's what it does show, quite literally. Change of leaders, power, kings, queens, rulership. But it can bring big changes in our own lives. And like I said, this Aries moon, when you look at the ruler, one, this is definitely about finances. It's about engineering. It's assertive. It's the warrior, the soldier, the general. It can be extremely argumentative, fighting, impulsive. But there's also this pioneering maverick energy. You know what I mean? And so we have to kind of just, look at this cosmic dance and try to decipher what, how the energies are supporting us, what could potentially play out, but also what's kind of the call for us as a collective to do, right? And so when you have the sun and the moon, in a total solar eclipse in Aries with the Aries North Node, it's about us, kind of finding our inner warrior and finding out how are we showing up to be brave and courageous in our own lives, okay, as individuals, not forgetting the we, right? But you have to move away from the we if the we is not harmonious, peaceful, fair, just, and serving you. Does that make sense? And I think the Lilith is there really telling you that. The Lilith is there with the South Node, but like, listen, because I will tell you, I mean, I've had many clients with Lilith in the fourth house, and that could be very challenging energy. I had one client who had Lilith in the fourth house in a different sign, but they were physically and sexually abused at home. The father used to punch them in the stomach. Yeah. Oh my gosh, you guys, you have no idea the stuff I see every day. It is, oof, God, I mean, we all, think, I mean, it's just human nature, right? We all think like, oh man, I had a rough life. and God would be like, oh, you think that's rough? Let me show you this person's chart. And then, and it's, but we all have these experiences, but remember, we're built for this because we selected it. And this is what our soul needs to learn in this lifetime. So during this total solar eclipse, we have to instinctually tap into our root chakra and be connected to finding the partners and friends and relationships that are going to be harmonious, peaceful, and supportive, right? You want people to be on, Team Susan, Team Robin, Team Pauline, Team Jacqueline, you know what I mean? To really support you guys, right? And so, it's a little different with the lunar eclipse on March 25th with the South Node, in the sense that it's not, they're similar because it's the South Node with the moon. But Lilith has a similar function. It's just that now you got the sun and moon in Aries, leading you to be the I am individual, right? To take action, to assert yourself and your will, your drive, your effort, right? To be brave and courageous. But with the Libra South Node, it's asking you to check in, right? You'll get those goosebumps from God Source Energy. Check in with your root chakra and see, right? Is this person are they my people, right? I would tell you with the tribe, like at this time, well, Libra, sun, moon risings could quite literally be your people, but energetically, you're checking in with your root chakra and grounding and earthing at home or in your local community, right? April 8th, it's even a little warmer than March 25th, hopefully. And, but you're really checking in and be like, you know what? If this isn't bringing me peace and love and harmony and respect, then you gotta let it go. Okay? Because what happens is, you guys, when we have these karmic fated energies, and like I said, remember, if you don't do it, it will be done for you. Yeah, it really can. And so that's what I want you to do is and I'll send these with the video, both these charts, but I want you to look at them, but then look at it with your chart, right? Because if it's in the 5th house, it could be themes around your children. If it's the 6th house, about your work and daily routine, the 7th house, right, about you in relation to others and your spouse, the 8th house, the resources, the joint finances, things like that. The 9th house, beliefs and philosophies, maybe your push to, publish and write a book. The 10th house, your work, your career, your legacy, your public image, maybe something with your dad. 11th house, right? The groups and organizations you're a part of, right? The internet, the officials, the governmental leaders in your country, right? Your nation. The 12th house, things in isolation in private. What are you to do in private that you share with the collective, right? Hidden talents, you bring this out, right? I know, Robin, you've got the Aries 12th house, right? So to take this initiating, assertive, brave, courageous energy and share it with the rest of your life, right? Don't hide it in isolation in the 12th house. Okay. The 1st house, it's all about you, the I am energy. How are you energetically showing up? The self. The 2nd house, right? Your values, your self-worth, right? Initiate, if you have Aries here, that self-love, to work on self and how you are earning money. It may be on you. You may not have any support or help. It's on you. Get it done, right? But if you have the Libra here, maybe it's, it's more spiritual work, or you're separating from some of the family values, Maybe your family's like, oh, well, we can't trust her anymore. She's all into that astrology. And you're like, okay, thanks. I really appreciate it. Bye. Okay. The 3rd house, what's going on in your local community with your skills, your self-efforts, even your siblings and cousins, your neighbors. Okay. So, really just take everything and apply it to your own chart. This is the energy for the collective. But like I said, you just always look at the Libra Aries axis for your own chart because it's going to flavor the story and just give you more information to what experiences and potential themes you may go through that may show up in your life. But that's why, we're looking at these charts because this is, just the energy in itself. And then you would visualize it like you would overlay it on your own natal chart, But the main focus that you want to look at is the Aries Libra in terms of where they are in your own chart. Okay. So any questions, any thoughts, anything before we go?
No, just lots to digest.
No, definitely, definitely. And I think it's good to watch this video again and then, while you're
Yeah,
listening to it, to bring up your own natal chart.
yeah.
And so then you can even journal and take some notes. Just remember that, it's not any doomsday, but I think it is just to be aware of these energies, right? The Jupiter, Uranus in the 11th house could be a sudden change to power in different countries, but it also could be a sudden change to, how we are showing up over the internet or with groups, how we're learning. This can really help you to teach you how you may improve your finances through technology and over the internet. Maybe, part of your daily routine, oh, I'm gonna learn about crypto. I'm gonna learn how to invest in real estate or gold, or you know what I mean? These are, because Jupiter Uranus it's like a jolt of lightning that can bring sudden abundance. Quite literally for you ladies, it could be a sudden husband. Jupiter represents a husband, right? But it's also just really powerful downloads of information that could shift and change your wisdom, beliefs, philosophies, your values, your self-worth. It's a good time to, do some of the inner work on and being positive and the positive self-talk and realizing like, what, maybe I should listen to this guided affirmation and meditation each morning that I got from this person on YouTube. Oh, I like this from Dr. Joe Dispenza. Oh, I like this from this lady or this guy, or you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
because that's what Jupiter and Uranus, it's giving you downloads and insight, and it can also lead you to join the right group. We have in different countries and different states, meetup groups, the learning annex, all these different things where you can connect with like-minded people, just like how I've created Coffee Talk, so Jupiter Uranus is really where you can get a lot of blessings and expand your horizons and beliefs and your knowledge.
Hmm.
And maybe at this time, I almost forgot to say this, this is where we could see another or a real or a fake Project Bluebeam revelation of so-called aliens.
Oh, yeah.
That's the government. Think of it. That's the government,
Yeah.
right?
I just looked on my clock and it's 11:11 here.
Yeah, yeah. I just saw that. So, so I'm sorry we're a little bit over, but I wanted to
Okay.
just wrap up and give you guys this little
I
extra.
just have one question.
Yes, please ask.
Um, okay, like you did my chart, but um, does is there more to that chart, or is kind of like I know, all the planets and everything change from time to time and as we go, but does the chart itself have more to it, or is it what it is? Like what
So
you
your natal chart is always standalone. Every
okay,
year, as human beings, we can do a solar return chart on our birthday. So here's an example. Today we're at 0 degrees Aquarius.
okay,
My mother-in-law's birthday's tomorrow, but she's a 0 degrees Aquarius. So because of how we have leap years and the planet shifts and the Gregorian calendar or whatever, so when you do a solar return chart, I would look at today's chart at her birth time, and I would do her solar return chart on January 20th, right? I wouldn't look at the 21st because the 21st it'll be 1 degree. So you go back to the degree point of your sun. But every year you're doing it and the planets are aligned differently. So it quite
Yeah.
literally tells you the theme of your upcoming year. I did this one year for my cousin, and it really helped her because I could see some medical issues. And she wound up going to the doctor, and I was right, and I saw these different things.
Well,
So,
that's what yeah. I was
so
kind of
that's it.
wondering that.
Yeah, no, solar return charts are something, I mean, hey, it's good for me as an astrologer, but it's something that I do for myself, right? Each year, I kind of will look at my birthday and I can see the themes of my life that can play out. So, doing a solar return chart every year, I highly recommend it. And then the third prong of that is secondary progression. So, just like in the Bible, Book of Genesis, 1 day equals 1 year, that's secondary progressions in astrology. So, for example, right, if you are born in Aries, right now your soul may be vibrating as a Gemini.
Wow.
Okay. And depending, let's say if you were later Aries, you could be vibrating as a Cancer. And your moon is going to move, and so will your ascendant. Okay. So, right now, secondary progression, Robin could be a Gemini sun, but her ascendant could be in Gemini or Cancer. The moon, just so you know, in astrology, right? It moves every 2.5 days. So
Right.
today we're starting the Gemini moon. So it's going to be most of Saturday, Sunday, and un poquito Monday, a little bit of Monday, right? But in the progress chart, the moon switches signs and houses every 2.5 years.
Uh-huh.
And the way that you break it down is, right, for me, I'm 53 years old. So I go 53 days, sorry, from my date of birth. So right now I'm vibrating energetically as a Scorpio, not as a Virgo. It doesn't ever nullify the natal chart. The natal chart is always in play, but the planets move, they progress. And so it's really good. It's another way to look at each year. You'll see there's a difference. The solar return and the progression are different. But you can, like, I could measure and I could see, let's say at 25, you got married. Well, in the progress chart, I could see how the planets have moved, and I'll be able to see, like, oh yeah, age 25, this is the story, the theme, that's how the planets were. Yeah, of course you got married at 25. I'll see, the first child or something. There may be a Jupiter transit in your 5th house or something trining the Jupiter that indicates pregnancy. Venus is the seed of life. Venus is sperm. Jupiter is not only the husband, but can be an indicator of a birth of a child or a pregnancy.
Wow.
It's amazing. Like, there's nothing that you cannot discover or uncover with astrology. And so I highly recommend, beyond the natal chart, solar return and or secondary progression charts. This is what I love with annual perfections, right? Because depending on your age, it activates that year and theme of life. So you can even also see, like, I was able to track in my chart and my wife's chart when the years were connected to when the children were born.
So what do you recommend? You kind of know me. What do you recommend for me? Which one do you think I would get the most out of?
Oof. It's a toss-up, but maybe the solar return. And then what I would do is the following year, do the secondary progression. All righty, guys. Have a good one. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye, you guys.